Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be playing Vendreads. Now, Vendreads are a fun ritual deck that involves a lot of zombie power. We've seen zombie support for Shiranui, for Mayakashi, and for the generic support like Unizombie and Zombie World. So I'm expecting that later this year, Konami is going to release the rest of the Vendread cards. I made a post on Reddit about that. And I want you guys to take a look at what Vendreads can do right now because there's another half price box sale coming up. If you guys like Vendreads, then this is your opportunity to grab them. And I think that they are a fun deck, even if they're not very good. For the skill, we are playing Building a Diorama. Can be used during a duel when you have ritual summoned a ritual monster whose original level is 8 or higher. Add a field spell from your deck to your hand, then return one card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. The skill can only be used if you begin the duel with a deck that contains at least 4 ritual monsters and 4 ritual spells. Okay, so we obviously meet the qualifications there. And the spell that we're searching is Summon Breaker, which is during the main phase 1, if the turn player successfully conducts the third summon of a monster this turn, it becomes the end phase. So if you summon 2 monsters and then you Xyz summon them, after you Xyz summon them, the turn ends. If you summon 2 monsters and synchro them, after you synchro summon, the turn ends. If you summon 2 monsters and fuse them, after the fuse and summon, the turn ends. You shouldn't do that, by the way. You should fuse from hand. If you summon 2 monsters and link summon them, the turn ends. And really, Summon Breaker is designed to punish Link decks a lot more than the other decks because Link 2s are generally not that good. Link 2s are generally like a climbing card, whereas the Link 3s and the Link 4s are what you want to end on. So, this is a great card to pull out of your deck. Not too many people are playing Mystical Space Typhoon or Cosmic Cyclone right now because they don't work on Tachyon Transmigration. That's probably going to change in the next couple days, but for right now, people aren't really running too many ways to remove Summon Breaker because they primarily play Nightmare Phoenix. And, well, with Nightmare Phoenix, you have to summon 2 monsters and then make the card. So they can try and use Nightmare Phoenix to pop the Summon Breaker, but you can just mess with them and make them have to summon 1 more monster. So, we'll see. It's pretty fun. For the main deck, we are playing Vendread Slayer. This is a level 6 zombie ritual monster with 2,400 attack points. You can ritual summon this card with any Vendread ritual spell once per battle. If this card battles an opponent's monster, during damage calculation, you can banish 1 zombie monster from your graveyard. This card gains 300 attack points permanently. That's pretty nice. So, it has to fight twice to get 3,000 attack points, but once it does, it has 3,000 forever, so you have to banish cards from your graveyard, but that's not that big of a deal for a zombie deck. If this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand, and if you do, send 1 Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. So this is very important. This card does not miss timing. It says if it's sent to the graveyard. That means that the effect triggers if you use it to link summon, because for some reason, a lot of link summons just make you miss timing. I don't get it. Link summons don't start a chain, but a lot of Link monsters have an effect that triggers when they're Link summoned, and I guess that's what's causing me to miss timing. I don't really get the missing timing when you link off monsters, but Vendread Slayer can't miss timing, so it doesn't matter. This is fantastic. We have our own Link monsters, so you basically get a Vendread Savior for free if you use Vendread Slayer as material, because when Vendread Slayer goes to the graveyard, you can just use it to search your Vendread Origin, which allows you to ritual summon a monster from the graveyard, and then Vendread Slayer also mills a card that you can use to banish to pay the cost of reviving it, so it's like the freest revive I've ever seen. It's great. This card is very good. Play it at 3. Vendread Executor, this is our 1 level 8. This is how we trigger the skill. You can ritual summon this card using any Vendread ritual spell. It has 3,000 attack points, which is very important. This card's name becomes Vendread Slayer while it's on the field. While this ritual summon card's on the field, your opponent cannot target cards you control with card effects except this card, which means that they also can't target the Summon Breaker, because it's cards, not monsters. That's pretty good. If this ritual summon card is destroyed by battle or destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it's in the monster zone, you can add 1 Vendread card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, Battle Lord lets you add ritual monsters, Slayer lets you add ritual spells, Executor just lets you draw any Vendread card. It's pretty nice. It's a great card, you don't need more than 1 of it, so either mill it with Vendread Slayer or draw it with Battle Lord and you'll be fine. Vendread Battle Lord, this is a level 7, it has 2,700 attack points, so it's kind of the midpoint. You can ritual summon this card with any Vendread ritual spell. You can banish one Vendread card from your graveyard and declare one type of card, a monster, spell, or trap. For the rest of the turn, your opponent can activate cards or effects of that type. This is very, very good. So you can activate this card, and your opponent will not be able to activate any monster effects for the rest of the turn. This can turn off hand traps. This can turn off negates. For example, if you are playing against a card like Stardust Dragon, right, which can only negate cards that destroy cards. Well, Battle Lord's effect is not a destroy, so your opponent could not necessarily chain to that, but now they can't use the effect for the rest of the turn either, so it's pretty nice. If this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, send one Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. So you just draw your Slayer or your Executor, and then you mill some card that you need to trigger. You either mill Sturgis so you can revive it, or maybe you send Anima to the graveyard so you can banish it, or Core to the graveyard so you can special summon it, or maybe you send Revenants. You know, there are so many options. Vendreads never stay in the graveyard, so milling cards is great for you. And that's why we're running 24 cards, by the way, because we mill so much. Manju of the 10,000 Hands. When this card is normal flip summon, you can add one ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand. This is not a zombie, which is really annoying, but it allows you to easily get your Vendread Slayer combos off, so this card's just a really important normal summon. It fixes your hand. Rituals are really, really, really bad. So they have really, really, really good generic searchers because they're really, really, really bad. So we will see this card in action. Vendread Revenants, I am playing this card at 1. It is a super rare in the box, so I had to go through the box quite a few times to get 3 copies of this card, and I'm only playing it at 1, but I want to because I spent all the gems on it. So, if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. And that's pretty cool. So it just comes back, but it only comes back once. A Vendread monster ritual summon using this card on the field gains this effect. Once per turn, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls and banish it. That's pretty good. Now, typically you're not going to have Vendread Revenants on the field because, well, you need your normal summon for Manju, but in the future, when we get Vendread Charge, which will allow us to special summon Vendread Revenants directly from the deck, you are going to have Vendread Revenants on the field, and you're going to be able to banish all the cards you want. So this is still a very good card to pick up. You're going to get it when you go for Vendread Slayer anyway, so be happy that you have this card because it is going to be a lot better in the future. Right now, it's very mid. Vendread Hound Horde, same thing. This card, if it's used as a ritual material on the field, then it allows you to quick effect target an opponent's spell or trap card and banish it. That is okay. The main reason why this card is better than Revenant is because you can special summon it by discarding a Vendread card, which means that you can more frequently actually get the tribute effect off, because with Vendread Hound Horde you can just mill it and then discard a card to revive it, whereas with Revenants the effect to revive is if it's destroyed, which is not going to be easy to trigger on your turn. So it's a pretty nice effect to be able to banish spells and traps. Spells and traps are very important in Duel Links, more so than other games. So I like this card as a 1-of. Its level is a nice, even level. It lets you summon Battle Lord because it's a 3, and you can combine it with Manju of the 10,000 Hands, so nice stuff. Vendread Sturgis. If this card is sent to the graveyard, including from the deck, you can reveal one Vendread card in your hand, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Again, this effect does not miss timing. Why does Konami have the ability to make cards good, and then they don't do it for every card? I don't understand. This deck plays so smoothly. I never have to think about anything because all of my cards just work. They don't randomly not work in certain situations. Please, Konami, fix this. Let every deck not miss timing. Regardless. So level 2 is not that useful. You could use it to make Vendread Slayer into Executor, I guess, if you wanted to. The real reason that we play this card is because it's a good link material. So you can, the combo is basically you normal summon Manju of the 10,000 Hands and you draw Vendread Evolution, which lets you send a card from your deck to the graveyard for ritual summoning. Manju is a 4, Sturgis is a 2, so that lets you summon Vendread Slayer. Since Sturgis went to the graveyard, you can then immediately revive it, and then you link Vendread Sturgis with your Vendread Slayer to go into a Vendread Savior. So, and that's what you want. This card is really, really good. We'll get to it. Vendread Anima. This card looks like Gimmick Puppet of Strings for some reason. Level 1, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one of your banished Vendread monsters, except Vendread, Anima, and special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except zombie monsters. A Vendread monster ritual summon using this card on the field gains the following effect. Banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card. Okay, so we're not going to really use Vendread Anima's field effect, but its grave effect is insane. Being able to just revive one of your monsters that you banished is really good. Obviously, you have to ritual summon the monster in order to actually special summon it, but ritual summoning a monster and then banishing it to summon another ritual monster and then reviving it with Anima gives you a lot of presence. So this card is really strong. It's really easy to mill it with Battle Lord, so you're going to see this card used in a lot of combos. Finally, for the monsters, we have Vendread Core. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one of the zombie monster from your graveyard, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. A Vendread monster ritual summon using this card on the field gains the following effect. You can only use each of the preceding effects of Vendread Core once per turn. And the effect is your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. This card is extremely good to make Vendread Executor with, because in case you forgot, Vendread Executor says your opponent cannot target cards you control with card effects except this card. So if you have Vendread Executor made with Vendread Core, your opponent can't target any card you control with card effects. That's really good. And Vendread Battle Lord is a great card to go into this because it will draw you the Executor and mill Vendread Core. So yeah, it's really, it's a really clear path here. You do still have to have a ritual spell, but hopefully you drew a ritual spell off of Vendread Slayer. So this is good. This is a really good card. And then, of course, you can just link the Vendread Battle Lord into the Vendread Savior, return the ritual spell to your hand, and then banish the Vendread Battle Lord from your graveyard. So there's so many lines with this deck. It's ridiculous. I'm trying to teach you guys. I'm trying to teach you guys how to play this deck, and I can't just stop going off on tangents about how many different ways you can play this deck. It's actually a lot of fun trying to find each individual line because there's infinite combos with these cards. They're so flexible. For the spells, we have Allure of Darkness, draw 2 cards, banish a card from your hand. If you banish a Vendread card like Vendread Revenants, you can just use it Anima to bring it back if you want to. But primarily, you're probably just going to pitch a Hound Horde or a Revenants that you don't need and just draw 2 cards. It's fun. Preparation of Rites. Add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand, then you can add a ritual spell card from your graveyard to your hand. That's really good. We ritual summon multiple times in a turn all the time, so being able to return Origin to our hand is fantastic. And Preparation of Rites will let us search either Slayer or Battle Lord, so that we can make sure that we have the other one, because they can basically search each other, so it's just a great starter. Revendread Origin. This card is insane, and the artwork is fantastic, by the way. This card can be used to ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. You must also tribute monsters from your hand and or field and or banish zombie monsters from your graveyard whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. Zombies only, so you can't banish your Manji of the 10,000 Hands. I found that out the hard way. If Revendread Slayers you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Neither of those effects is once per turn, so you can ritual summon all you want, and if you have multiple Revendread Origins in your graveyard, your opponent has to destroy your monsters multiple times. And it protects all of your Vendread Slayers. So that means Executor, it means Slayer, and it means a Vendread Savior. If you have all 3 of them out, your opponent plays Dark Hole, guess what? Nothing happens. Really, really good card. Love this card. Played at 3. Revendread Evolution. This card is dumb. This card is very, very stupid. Why is it a rare? This card can be used to ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. Again, really, really good that you can just ritual summon monsters from the graveyard for some reason. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field and or send a Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard whose total levels equaled the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. So this is an and or effect, which is very confusing language. It basically means, like I said before, that you can use a level 4 on your field and a level 2 in your deck to make a level 6, or you can just send a level 6 directly from your deck to the graveyard. The ritual summon card is destroyed during the end phase of the next turn. That part has actually never come up for me a single time. You start with Evolution, you link it off, then you make Slayer. And then you just use Origins to ritual summon the monsters you actually want. So you can only activate 1 Revendread Evolution per turn. That is the sad part. So Revendread Evolution, you do have so many ways to recycle ritual spells, but Revendread Evolution can't be used more than once per turn. So you don't really want to recycle it. So this card is usually the card that I'm going to banish with Vendread Battle Lord to activate it. So I'll use Revendread Evolution to make Battle Lord, and then I'll use Battle Lord to banish Revendread Evolution to prevent my opponent from using monster or trap effects. And then some breaker where I explain what that does. For the extra deck, we are playing Crusadia Echomex because it lets us stack a bunch of monsters and kill people. Nightmare Unicorn for removal. Yukione, the Icicle Mayakashi, this can be made with 2 or more zombie monsters. If it's special summon, you can negate a monster's effects permanently, and then you can banish this card from your graveyard to revive a zombie from your graveyard during your opponent's turn. So this card actually has some applications. I don't think I've ever made it in Vendreads, but I can definitely see situations where you would have enough materials on the field that it could be justified. More of like a turn 3 play, though, really. It's not like Mayakashi. You really want to get the negate off with this card. So you make it into a board that your opponent has like a U-Bell on or something. A Vendread Savior. This card is stupid. So I'm sure that you guys have seen this card in zombie decks before, and you know about its second effect, which is during damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can send a zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard, and that opponent's monster loses attack equal to the monster's level times 200. That's a really good effect. You can mill your Vendread Executor and make your opponent lose 1600 attack points. That's fine. But it also has 2 other effects. The first one is, this card's name becomes Vendread Slayer while on the field. Fantastic, so it's protected from Vendread Origin as well. I love it. And then the other effect is, once per turn, you can target any Vendread card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. That's really, it's really, really good. It's a card that's hard to destroy, it wins battles, it's easy to link summon, and it recurs any card you want from your graveyard once per turn. Not when it's summoned, once per turn. That's really dumb. That's really, really dumb. Definitely play this card at 2. It's really strong. It's not in the Vendread box, but you probably already have this card. I'm pretty sure it was in the Rocket box. So yeah, definitely play this card at 2. It's good, it's good. Vampire Sucker. You can target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your opponent's field in defensive position, but it becomes a zombie. That effect you probably haven't seen too many people use, because this card is usually played in Shiranui, and they actually lock themselves out of using this effect. But you can do this in Vendreads, because we don't have a skill. So special summoning a monster to your opponent's field can be pretty useful. But primarily you're using the second effect, which is if a zombie monster is special summoned from either graveyard, draw a card. Remember that you can ritual summon from the graveyard. So it's pretty nice to link into this card, ritual summon from the graveyard, and then just climb into Yukiona. So it's fine. And then Nightmare Phoenix and Wee Witch's Apprentice. Wee Witch's Apprentice allows you to make all your dark monsters gain 500 attack points, and if this card is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can target a dark monster in your graveyard and add to your hand. We primarily play this card because we don't have anything better. There you go, that's the deck. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay. Okay, so we are going second against Evil Twins. It's our opponent's turn. They activate Secret Password to draw Live Twin Home. Live Twin Home, discard the MST, special summon the Key Skill, special summon the Lila from deck, link off. Keys to kill, revive, go into Lila. Lila, revive, Key Skill, draw a card. Gain 2k. Link it to another Key Skill, set to and pass. Okay, it's our turn. So our hand is Manju, Preparation, 2 Slayers, and Origin. That's insane. That's probably one of the best openers we could have gotten. Let's see what Vendreads look like at full power going second. So we normal summon Manju with the 10,000 hands, and we'll use it to draw our Evolution. Activate Evolution. We're going to send the Striges from the graveyard. We're going to send the Striges from the deck and the Manju with the 10,000 hands to summon the Slayer. Then we activate Striges' effect in the graveyard, reveal the Slayer to special summon it, and we link off into Vampire Sucker. Trying to get an extra draw. Alright, Slayer's effect activates because it was sent to the graveyard. Our opponent is going to chain Key Skill to destroy this sucker. We draw another Origins, and we mill our Battle Lord. So remember, we have to send a Vendread monster from our deck to the graveyard if we draw a card with Origin, but we send the Battle Lord, and even though the Battle Lord wasn't summoned correctly, you can explicitly ritual summon from the graveyard, which means that you can just summon it from the graveyard even if it was just sent there by a card effect. So we're not special summoning, we're ritual summoning. Activate the Preparation of Rites to draw the Battle Lord, and then we're going to activate Vendread Origin. We banish we tribute the Battle Lord from our hand to ritual summon the Battle Lord from the graveyard to make sure we don't banish anything. Battle Lord effect, we activate the Evolution. Battle Lord effect, we banish the Evolution from the graveyard, declaring traps, so our opponent cannot activate any traps. Then we activate Vendread Origin. We tribute the Slayer in our hand to ritual summon the Slayer from our graveyard. Again, this just makes sure that we don't waste any cards in our graveyard by banishing them. Link both those monsters off into the Vendread Savior. Battle Lord effect, we draw the Executor and mill the Anima. And we can't use Slayer's effect because it's once per turn. Savior effect, we return the Origin to the hand, activate Origin, banish both the Slayers, because I'm lazy and I didn't want to check which one I had actually Ritual Summoned, and go into Executor. Then we can use the Anima, banish it to bring back the Slayer. Now at this point I have a Vendread Savior, Vendread Executor, and Vendread Slayer all on the field. So I've literally summoned all 3 cards that count as Vendread Slayer, and I have 2 Origins in the graveyard. So I protect my entire field twice, and I have huge monsters, and my opponent can activate any trap cards for the rest of the turn. So we enter the battle phase. Our opponent's going to activate Book of Moon and set the Executor face down. Remember, Executor is the only card they can target with card effects. So that's fine. We're going to attack with our Vendread Savior. On the Lila, we're going to mill the Slayer to make Lila lose 1,200 attack points. Then Slayer effect, we're going to banish the Vampire Sucker from our graveyard to give ourselves 300 extra attack points permanently, crash in the key skill, and our opponent loses quite a bit of life points. Now it's our opponent's turn. They only have 1 card in their hand, but they top deck another Live Twin Home. So they're going to go ahead and go into the key skill and the Lila, link off for a Lila. Lila, revive the key skill, draw a card, link off into key skill. Key skill, revive Lila. Lila, pop the Savior. We are going to banish the Origin from our graveyard to prevent our opponent from destroying our card. Then they're going to activate Secret Password. Now remember, they activated Live Twin Home, which means they're locked into Evil Twins, so they can't actually go into Nightmare Unicorn, even though they are drawing a card. They draw the 3rd Live Twin Home, and they're going to go ahead and attack into the Savior to try and make sure that they have the Lila not on the field so they can use Key Skill's effect next turn. And they think they're only going to take 500. We go ahead and we use the effect to mill Revenants, so they lose 800 attack points. Take 1,300 and pass. It's our turn. We flip summon the Executor, and then we try to go into the battle phase, which forces our opponent to use their cards. So they're going to use the key skill, which has to be used during the main phase, to bring back the Lila. Lila, target Executor, because it's the only card they can target. We banish a 2nd Origin from the graveyard to prevent the destruction, and at that point our opponent concedes. There you go. So we have lots of combos. We have lots of really good rituals from the graveyard. We use Link Summoning to get multiple ritual spells back. Then we draw a bunch of cards from sending our ritual monsters to the graveyard, and we protect all of them with our ritual spells in the graveyard that we've already used. So that's the deck. It's really complicated, it's a lot of fun, and it's zombies. So let me know if you like this deck. My name is Sarafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.